covered Blake Corvette while played here in high school at Hilliard Darby High School, and he was quite the athlete here. So just a comment about his progression this year and over the last couple of years,
Yeah,
what he's meant to the program.
yeah. Frankie's quite the athlete here too. He's been outstanding, and obviously been a great player for us, and been a tremendous part of our success this year. I think, more importantly, just a great young man, and he's everything that the Naval Academy values and embodies, and a great leader for us, and then a great player, super smart kid, great teammate, inspires the guys around him, and just really not enough good things to say about Blake.
And my second question, I mean, they ran a similar offense at Hilliard Darby where he played here. Did that help him to transition to your football program?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Having that experience and running the triple and doing the things that we do, and Blake's got a really good ability to do the things we do under center, and to read it, and make the right reads and get the ball dealt and all those kind of things. And then he can get in the gun and be a pro style quarterback as well. I think that's what makes him part of what makes him so good.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Frank.
Scott Wyckoff.
Scott Wyckoff with WBAL Radio in Baltimore and the Navy Radio Network. Coach, what's impressed you the most this season and over the last few years that you've played these Marcus Freeman coach teams, how they play in his image?
Yeah, well, I think he does an outstanding job. I think they got a tremendous staff, and I think they're very well coached. I think they play really hard, very sound fundamentally and technically, and they're Notre Dame, and they're super talented. They look like an NFL team. They're big, they're long, and they're athletic, and this team is no different than those that we played against in the past in regards to those things. But a ton of respect for their program, their players, and their coaches, and it's going to be a tremendous challenge for us.
What does it say about the makeup of their team this year, the resiliency coming back after a tough loss, but also with all the injuries that they've had this year?
Yeah, I think it speaks to the character of their football team, and Marcus Freeman's leadership, and the way that they bounced back after the upset early in the year, and it says a lot about who they are. They're a good football team. They're very well coached, and we're going to get their very best on Saturday. I know that.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks, Scott.
Matt Adams.
Hey, Coach, thanks for doing this. Matthew Adams, Stars and Stripes. I don't know how much the guys are thinking about last year's game, but that trip y'all had last year, 42-3. I know this is a different Notre Dame team, but what are some of the things y'all learned last year that you're trying to fix and work on for this year's game?
Yeah, I think last year's game really has nothing to do with this year's, other than going back and looking at certain ways they defend us and certain things they did on both sides of the ball and on special teams. And you kind of learn from those things. Maybe you take something away. And what the different football team that we're playing, we're a different team as well. So don't put a whole lot of stock into last year's game.
And this year, it's different Notre Dame squad, but Riley Leonard is different quarterback than Sam Hartman. How do you prepare for a dual threat quarterback like that?
Yeah, it's tough. Makes it difficult when a quarterback can throw it as well as he does, and the ability to run the football. And we've seen a lot of dual threat quarterbacks. He's a really good one now. He's big and long and athletic, and you got to account for him. On third down when you drop into coverage, because he'll put his foot in the ground, take off, go get a first down, and there's some quarterback run game stuff as well. And on the early downs, and so you create an extra gap on defense. For the defense when you can run the football with him, and he's a threat. It's going to be a great challenge to prepare for him.
Thanks.
Steve Wino, Associated Press.
Thanks, Scott. Steve Wino from the AP. Brian, I know you mentioned obviously winning the conference is one of your team's big goals, but what does a game against Notre Dame mean for your players and your program to kind of show on that national stage what you guys can do?
Well, it's a great opportunity for our team and our program, and these are the kind of games you want to play in. And it's the great thing about coming to school here in Navy. You get to play a team like Notre Dame every year, and a big game on national stage like that. And, that's what you want. You want to play the best teams in the country and have that opportunity to do that. And kids are excited about it. And what a great challenge it is, but what a great opportunity it is as well. We're all fired up to play this game.
You mentioned earlier what Blake can do as a passer and a runner. Just Drew's offense and Blake fit in it. How has it been? I don't want to say perfect, but what's worked so well about this offense and mixing and matching? And you've obviously been around Navy teams that have not played like this before. What is this like to have an offense like this?
Yeah, it's great. It's great when you can score points. There's no doubt about that. We struggled a little bit here offensively as of late in the past few years, and I've enjoyed watching it, the balance of it, and the way that it's evolved even within the season, and the wrinkles that we have every week. And Blake's got some good players around him too. I think our offensive line has improved every week, and we've got some good players on that side of football, and we're spreading the football around and keeping people off balance and progressing and evolving, on a weekly basis. It's been fun to watch. And we came out of the game this past week, and there's so many things that we can do better. I don't think we've peaked yet. I don't think we've really come close to our ceiling. And so the message is to be better this week than we were the previous week, and we're going to be much better. We're going to play much better on Saturday than we did this past weekend to have a chance to win. Our guys know that.
Just a reminder for those who are joining, we're doing 2 questions each. We'll get to everybody, and if we have time, we'll do it again. Oliver Hodgkinson.
Coach, you touched on the offensive line a little bit there. Obviously, last year's game against Notre Dame, they were particularly brutal in the trenches. How do you look at this year's offensive line and how it compares to that unit last year that faced Notre Dame? And what have you seen from the unit that makes you confident coming into Saturday's game?
Yeah, I think they've improved. I think some of the things we're doing offensively help those guys a little bit. They don't keep people off balance and mixing them more running and throwing the football. And yeah, that's the difference in the game last year was obviously they dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. And that's the challenge anytime you're playing a team, like Notre Dame. But I think we're a little better equipped this year than we were last year. And I think we've improved.
The second question, it's obviously 15 months since you took charge against Notre Dame, that first game in charge of the Midshipmen. Do you allow yourself a little bit of time this week to reflect on how far the program's come in those 15 months and also for yourself as a head coach, how you've developed over these past 15 months since the last time you faced Notre Dame?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe not this week, but I've reflected on it a little bit, throughout the season and proud of the growth and development of our football team and what we've been able to accomplish so far. And, we're still a work in progress, Oliver. And like I said earlier, we've not reached our potential. We haven't peaked yet by any stretch. And there's a lot of things that we can do better and a lot of things we're going to need to do better moving forward to continue to sustain the success and keep on that path and that trajectory that we want. And so I'm excited about what we've done and proud of what we've done. We're still a work in progress.
Thanks, Coach.
Wags.
So can you kind of just generally talk about what you're seeing out of Riley Leonard overall as a quarterback?
Yeah, just really polished, dangerous. Play can break down and he can make it right with his feet. Really good athlete, especially for his size. He's 6'4", I think 220, and can run a little bit elusive the way how well he runs, but throws the ball really well too. I think he's got a great grasp on what they're doing offensively, and I think what they're doing suits him really, really well. And I've just been really impressed with what I've seen out of him so far.
Can you talk about some of the other weapons? A lot of the guys that hurt you last year are back. Jadarian Price, the tailback, and Jaden Greathouse, the wide receiver. Some pretty good weapons in that offense. And they always have a pro caliber tight end too.
Yeah, they always seem to have a pro caliber tight end, and it was the same running back that that ran through us a little bit last year, if I'm not mistaken. But they're talented across the board. Wags. You don't really find any weaknesses, when you're looking at their team and their roster, and so yeah, they're all an issue for us.
Kyle
Thanks.
Goon, Baltimore Banner.
Hey, Coach. Just first of all, I mean, with a game like Deshaun had last week, what makes him so dangerous once he gets his hands on the ball, and what do you think that can do for your defense's confidence having a performance like that?
Yeah, I think it was certainly a boost, for his confidence. I thought he played really well the week before. I thought he played his best game of the year. Then went and topped it off this past weekend. But awesome to see him have some success. I think the biggest difference for him is just the way that he's prepared, these last couple of games, and really knowing the opponent really, really well, studying a lot of game film, and he's a really good athlete. And, when he does get the ball like that he can make some things happen, and something we work on a lot. And it's great to get an interception, but we want to do something with it when we get it, and something we work on a lot in practice. And see those guys execute that was really good to see. But he's played a lot more confidence the last couple of weeks. We always talk about we want trigger players and read their key and go attack it, and he's done that the last couple of weeks, and it's really paid off for him. Not just the picks, but made some really good tackles, had a sack. He's done some really good things for us, and we're going to need him to continue to play at a high level.
And then just secondly, it's been a little bit since Navy has kind of had the momentum as a program that you guys are enjoying right now. What are you kind of seeing out of the Annapolis region, the Central Maryland region, as you guys have had this 6-0 start to the season that maybe surprises you or maybe inspires you in some way?
Yeah, I don't think anything's been a surprise. And we talk about drowning out the noise, whether it's bad noise or good noise, but it's fun to have some success. I think the community is excited about what's going on. I told our players that I think they're inspiring our community a little bit. I think people are proud. They're excited about what we're doing, and we want to make people proud when we step on the field of what they see and how hard we play, and how we handle our business. And I think our players have done that. It's a credit to our senior leadership and this football team. And so it's exciting to have some success, and I'm proud of our guys for that.
Ralph Russo, The Athletic.
Thanks for doing this, Brian. I know you've been asked a lot about the offense and the changes and how well that it's done. What was it about Drew's offense that made you think that will work here for our players?
Yeah, Ralph, he's had success everywhere that he's been, in a lot of different ways, not just running the wing T type of offense. And he's been able to evolve and adapt everywhere that he's been, and put his players in a position to have some success and give them a chance. Wanted to use a tight end here. Wanted to do that for a long time. I think that's problematic when you can do that. Create some 3- and 4-man surfaces and run the option and do some stuff out of the gun as well. And I think the ability to be under center, do the things that we're doing, and also get in the gun and do some things and keep people off balance. I think what we're doing in the passing game complements what we're doing in the running game really, really well. And I just think he's outstanding in regards to game planning, in regards to calling it during a game, in regards to knowing how to attack what people are trying to do, and taking advantage of some things. Just been super impressed with everything that he's done. What you do is really important. We know that, schematically, especially here, we've got to be different. We've got to be unique. We've got to do something that is somewhat of an equalizer, gives us an edge. But the way we do it is the most important thing. And those guys on that side of the ball are bought in. They're playing extremely hard. And I think they're getting better every week, and they're having fun, and they're playing with confidence.
If you don't mind, just one quick follow-up, and that is, how much did you have to talk to him about, like, hey, this is what you do? And you said he does a lot. He's had success in a lot of different ways, but we also need you to do this, right? We can't go. Would you hand it over to him and say, do whatever you want? Or did you sort of give him some instructions that like, hey, we also need to be able to sort of do some of these things too?
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations about that during the process of the job interview, and kind of what I wanted to look like, and what his thoughts were about that, if something he thought we could do here. But certainly wanted to keep elements of the triple under center, and to be able to marry that with some of the things that he's done in the past. I think it's made for a kind of a unique system that we have here. You know, we've got a lot of good coaches on the staff that've been here for a while. And so to sit down with Coach Jasper and Coach Joe Kitis and those guys and talk about some of the things they've done here in the past. And you know, he's a guy that's, you know, brilliant coach, but no ego. And so that's, you know, it's a collaboration in that room. But I think the ability for us to do some things that we've done here in the past, as well as some of the things that a lot of things that Drew's brought in, has been a really nice mixture.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph.
Joe Lonergan.
Coach, Blake Horvat's first year as the starter in these first 6 games of the season here, where do you think you've seen the most growth from him?
I think the way he's been able to throw the ball, you know, mechanically, he's improved as a passer as much in the last year as I've seen any quarterback improve. He's really smart, takes coaching, works on his craft, but he's very technically polished. He's really smart. I knew that, but he's made great decisions the entire year. He's taking care of the football. His ability to be an effective runner. You know, we always knew he was a really good athlete, he could run, but I didn't expect him to be as effective. I didn't know, you know, Joe. We don't go live in practice, so it's really hard to tell sometimes, you know. But his ability to throw the ball and be an effective runner, and you know, I think this offense is perfectly suited, you know, for him. You know what we're doing. His ability to transition from going under center and doing the things we're doing there to getting in the gun, and he's handled everything really, really well.
And then as far as Notre Dame's season this year, there's been some momentum shifts for them back and forth. What have you thought of the improvements they've made in the last couple of weeks here?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, similar to us. You know, it's a sign of a team that's bought in, sign of a really good coaching staff. You see improvement, you know, week to week. And, you know, they had a lot of injuries, right? They've lost some players. And so those guys that replace those guys, you see those guys' growth. You see them getting better every week as well. And so, you know, they're a better football team right now than they were 2 or 3 games ago. There's no doubt about that.
JP Acosta.
Hi, Coach. JP Acosta from SB Nation. I wanted to ask you a little bit, like you've said earlier with Drew's offense and how much it has adapted and changed. Could you talk a little bit about how Alex's role as the fullback in the offense has kind of shifted, and what stuff he's asked to do and how well he's done it?
Yeah, I don't know that it's shifted a ton, JP. You know, we need to find a way to get him the ball a little bit more, something that we talk about. You know, there's certain guys that you want to get as many touches in the course of the game as you can. And you know, he's got the ability to run between the tackles really well, but he's a guy that can do things with it on the perimeter. You saw him catch a pass out of the backfield, you know, this past weekend. So he's just really talented. And there's a lot of things you could do with him. He could truthfully line up at our slot position and function very, very well there. He could probably go out and play wide receiver, you know. So having a guy at D-back that can do a lot of different things gives us some flexibility on what we can do, gives us some options. He's done a really good job blocking, you know, on the perimeter as well. So I think he's quietly had a really, really good year. And, you know, the more he gets the ball, the better he's going to be.
My next question for you is, on a larger scale, how is Navy's ability to still be one of the most efficient offenses in the nation? How is that kind of allowing teams and people to see the effectiveness still of the option offense, despite some of the rules against cut blocking kind of seemingly thinking to be hampering it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think what's happened with the cut block rules is it's forced us to evolve and be a little more creative in the things that we're doing. if you could still cut, it'd be pretty deadly what we're doing now, But because we've been forced to evolve and change things up a little bit, it's forced you to be more creative, and I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing it with Army as well. Some of the teams that run some of the gun option stuff, you can still run the option and be effective. But you've got to be a little more smoke and mirrors sometimes in the way that you do it, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Pete Medhurst.
Brian, you talked about getting turnovers and then wanting to do something with them. Can you talk about, or I hate saying talk about, but when you look back at the 2 returns by Peel, can you evaluate how your team just pushed a button and the other 10 guys went into let's go block mode now to make sure that we can get him to the end zone, not just once, but they did a heck of a job twice to get him to the end zone.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, it's something we work on in practice. We have actually called a score pursuit drill. And if we want to get to it's just like a punt return. You want to set up a wall on the near sideline so everybody knows where the ball carrier is going to be, and always want to block the intended receiver. He's the guy that usually makes the tackle, him or the quarterback. So those are the 2 guys that we designate that have to get blocked, and everybody else is just looking for work. And so we do things to simulate that in practice. And if we get a pick against our look team, then we're going to finish with that thing in the end zone. And so, it's a credit to Coach Volker and staff for continuing to work on that and talk about it, and to see it happen and pay off in a game is awesome. We talk about seeing the drill in the game all the time, and that was nice to see that happen on Saturday.
I know games take on their own personality, but the fact that, Leonard has been such a willing runner for them and their use of him as a runner, as you prepare for that 11th guy, so to speak, what challenges does that present when that 11th guy at some point is going to present himself probably multiple times during the course of this game?
Yeah, well, you have to get an extra hat, in the box, and when you do that, obviously that leaves some people in one-on-one type situations, and that's always a challenge when a team has a quarterback that can run the football. Something we're gonna have to work through this week and put together a great plan for there to be a balance and be able to cover receivers and also have enough guys to defend the quarterback run game.
Thanks, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll go back around. Let's just do one question this time to make sure we get to everyone. And then after we get through that, if we still have questions, we can just open it up. I'll try to remember the order I went the last time. If I get out of order, I apologize. Frank Durena.
Yes, guy. Actually, I have what I need, so I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, great. Scott Wyckoff, got 10 minutes. So,
Coach, with the team that's had the success that you've had this year, when you kind of look at the big picture coming into this 7th week, what are you most pleased about in their development?
I think the approach every week, Scott, of just going 1-0 and being obsessed with the details, obsessed with getting better every week. I've said this a few times, just their ability to keep the blinders on and focus on the task at hand, regardless of what happened the week before or what's coming down the pipe in a couple of weeks, and just taking things one game at a time. A lot of people talk about having that 1-0 mentality, and it's become a little bit cliche, but I think our players have bought into that, and you see it in their approach and the way they come out every week, and been really pleased the way we've just kind of been able to drown out the noise and keep the blinders on, and it's a humble group. They're hungry, and they've got a chip on their shoulder. There's no entitlement, in this program, and they know every week, man, we're gonna have to fight and scratch and claw to get what we want, and especially this week. And so it's been really pleasing, as head coach, to just, I love the mindset of our team. I love the approach, every week.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Matt Adams.
You've talked about the changes in the offense, and you've talked about Blake's growth as a passer. When people, I think when people think about Navy, they of course think about the triple option. With the changes y'all have made on offense, does that allow y'all to be able to pass it more in a game like a Notre Dame that you've got here?
Yeah, I think so. I think, what you see is just we're doing a lot more formationally, Matt, and I think that presents some problems for people. And, everything that we do, the great thing about Drew's system is, one thing complements another thing in the run game, complements another thing in the pass game. And so the ability to mix it up and to keep people off balance and to be able to take advantage of certain things when we see it. I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far this year.
Thanks.
Steve Wino.
You talked a lot about being sort of fulfilled and kind of happy for your players, but how much fun are you having this season? Just kind of enjoying the success and also while staying humble and realizing all that, but kind of enjoying this.
Yeah, there are certain moments where you enjoy it. You're happy about the success you've had, but you also realize we're only halfway into the season, and a lot of tough opponents in front of us, and so you're excited about and proud of what you've done. You're happy for your players to have some of the success. There's still a level of anxiety, every week, and I think we're as a staff, we're always on edge, and we're obsessed with getting better and improving, and know that we're gonna have to get a lot better moving forward to sustain it. And so it's great. You enjoy it. It's always on to the next one, and but it's been good. It's been good.
Oliver.
Coach, you used the words humble and hungry for the players on this team. Obviously, the Naval Academy has a slightly different culture than some other college football programs. But how much do guys like, you had Xavier McDonald last year, you've got a guy like Cushy Abraham this year, who have overcome tremendous adversity off the field. How important is it having guys like those to lift your team up in the low moments like in early last season and then keep you grounded in the high moments like at the moment with the run that you guys are having?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have guys. We've got, those are just two examples. We've got a lot of them, Oliver, and I don't think people realize, we got great young men in this program. People don't really appreciate the demands that are on these guys, day in and day out, and the stress they have, outside of football. And you take all that in consideration, and you think about the time that they dedicate to football and how important that is to them. It's a lot, and these guys, they give a lot when they're over here in the building and on Saturdays, but they give a lot when they're not over here, and very little of their time is not accounted for while they're here. And they're special young men, and I don't think I could have done it when I was their age, for sure. So just a ton of respect for these guys, and just, I know, we talk about as a staff, we're inspired by these guys on a daily basis. They're a lot of fun to be around and admire these guys. And it's one of the reasons why I think it's, maybe the best job in the country. As the type of young men you get to coach here on a daily basis. And you just can't say enough good things about these players and what they give of themselves, on a daily basis.
Thanks, Coach.
Ralph Russo.
All right, see if I can pack a lot into this question without being too much, Brian. Jay Guillermo, first year offensive line coach, and talking to some people who played you, that he's gotten a lot of praise. When you bring him in, especially considering the rule changes, again, sort of what are you looking for, and what maybe makes him effective? What has made him effective? Because again, I've heard that from guys who played you that really has stood out how much better the offensive line is playing this year.
Yeah. Well, you want your O-line coach, you want him to be a tough dude, and you want those players to be a reflection of him. And he's certainly that. Obviously was a great player at Clemson. He coaches these guys really hard. He's very demanding, but he treats them the right way. I think those kids in that room love him. I think he's a young coach. I think he's 29. I don't think he's even turned 30 yet. And he's beyond his years from a teaching standpoint. Phenomenal teacher. The fundamentals and the techniques, and those guys have played extremely hard this year. Since I got here in 19, we haven't played this hard. Particularly on the offensive line as we are right now. And signing good coaching is just the improvement that you see, week to week. and couldn't be more pleased with the job he's done. And Tommy Lorendine in that room as well, and Jason McDonald in that room. We got 3 really good old line coaches in there, and I'm starting to see that pay off.
Thanks again. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Rob.
You got 3 minutes, Wags.
Well, Coach, you mentioned in the press conference after the game on Saturday that it doesn't take a superhuman effort to beat Notre Dame. Navy has beaten Notre Dame 4 times since 2007. Do you point to that and say if you simply execute in all phases, you can compete and beat this team?
No, I don't think I refer to the past at all. I mean, this is something that's totally different, and it doesn't take a miracle. It doesn't take something superhuman, but our guys know we're going to have to play extremely, extremely well in all 3 phases for 4 quarters just to have a chance. They know that, but at the same time, these guys believe they can go win this game, and we're going to play this game to win it, not for a pat on the back, not for a moral victory, but we're going to play this game to win it.
Got 2 minutes, Kyle Goon.
Hey, Brian, just a bit of a stab in the dark, but the Ravens with their run game are playing so well up here in Baltimore. And I know the personnel groups are obviously very different, but is there anything when you talk about being more creative and finding more smoke and mirrors for your run game with the rule changes, is there anything you take from the pro ranks and maybe the Ravens specifically with how successful they've been with the run and pass this year?
No. That's an interesting question. Maybe in the off season we'll study the Ravens a little bit and find some stuff. But we're always looking for new ideas and new wrinkles. And sometimes they come from other college teams. Sometimes they may come from NFL teams. But they're not a team that I would say that we've studied, Kyle. Maybe we should take a look, what they're doing.